How did benzene become a known leukemia risk factor? Benzene is a chemical that has been linked to leukemia through many years of scientific research and observation. Scientists noticed a pattern where people exposed to benzene in their jobs or environment developed blood cancers more often. This connection was especially strong with a type called acute myeloid leukemia. In the early 1900s, doctors observed that workers in industries like chemical manufacturing, oil refining, and shoe production who handled benzene were getting sick more frequently. Back in the 1920s and 1930s, case reports began to emerge. For example, in 1928, a man working in a pharmaceutical plant with long-term benzene exposure developed leukemia. Researchers started collecting similar stories and data. One scientist named Enrico Vigliani analyzed these cases and found that workers exposed to benzene had a much higher chance of developing leukemia than people who were not exposed. This was some of the first solid evidence linking benzene to blood cancers. By the 1960s, more detailed studies confirmed that benzene could cause damage to the DNA in bone marrow cells. These cells are responsible for making blood. When benzene or its breakdown products damage the DNA, it can cause mutations. These mutations can lead to abnormal blood cells that grow out of control, which is how leukemia begins. Researchers also found that benzene exposure caused chromosomal changes like translocations and deletions, which are common in leukemia cells. Long-term exposure to benzene can also lower the number of healthy blood cells, making the immune system weaker. The damage to the bone marrow and DNA can take years to develop into leukemia. Usually, symptoms appear 5 to 15 years after exposure, depending on how much benzene someone was exposed to. Benzene causes oxidative stress and disrupts DNA repair, which increases the chance of mutations that lead to leukemia. It mainly raises the risk for a type called acute myeloid leukemia, but it can also be linked to other blood cancers. Today, major health organizations like the World Health Organization and the Centers for Disease Control recognize benzene as a known human carcinogen. This means it is confirmed to cause cancer, including leukemia. Because of this, regulations have been put in place to limit how much benzene people can be exposed to at work and in the environment. These rules help protect workers and the general public from the risks associated with benzene. In summary, benzene became known as a leukemia risk factor through decades of research that showed how it damages bone marrow cells and DNA. Early case reports, epidemiological studies, and molecular research all contributed to understanding how benzene exposure can lead to leukemia years later. This knowledge has been vital in developing safety standards and preventing disease. If you work with or are exposed to benzene, it is important to follow safety guidelines and consult healthcare professionals for regular checkups.